All right, so you have those. Okay, let's deal with some spirits that occupy the earthly realm. Go over to Mark 5 and 8. Now we've shifted. Gotta say that because some of y'all be catching me in between. We have shifted now. We're done talking about the heavenly realm. Right. Now we're going to talk about the earthly realm, all right?
Yes, sir.
Mark 5 and 8. For he had been saying to him, "Come out of the man, you unclean spirit." And he was asking him, "What is your name?" And he said to him, "My name is Legion, for we are many." And he began to implore him earnestly not to send them out of the country. And there was a large herd of swine feeding nearby on one of the mountains. Then the demons implored Jesus, saying, "Send us into the swine so that we may enter them." And Jesus gave them permission, and coming out the unclean spirits entered into the swine, and the herd rushed down the steep bank into the sea, about 2,000 of them, and they were drowned in the sea. Now we see here that these spirits that were in this man were in the earth realm. Now, what happened to this man? I can't go into a teaching about the whole experience, but one of the things that God forbade in the Old Testament was not to eat pork and to hang out in cemeteries. He talked about that a lot in the Old Testament because it was a practice of eating pig flesh and going into the seminary trying to commune with those that had died. Okay, stay with me. And so what happened is this madman of Gadara, or the Gadareans, he was in the graveyard. Remember, he was in the graveyard cutting himself night and day, eating swine. Why? The swine were in close proximity, so it was a religion. And it wasn't just this fella that was caught up in this religion. It was other people in the city that was eating swine and practicing this necromancy, trying to call up dead people. And so somewhere in the process of doing this man ended up being demon-possessed. And we know that there are degrees of demon possession because they used to be able to hold him with chains and fetters. But it says that he got to the point where he began to break them. They weren't strong enough to hold him. Why? Because by this time he is inhabited by a legion. Now you got to understand, legion is a military term. It is between 3,000 to 6,000 soldiers. And so when Jesus interviewed this demon and said, "What is your name?" he said, "My name is Legion, for we are many." What was he saying? He was giving Jesus vital information. It's between 3,000 and 6,000 of us in this one man. Demons don't require a lot of space. If one person can have up to 6,000 demons in the earth, why are they in the earth? Because a demon needs a human to express himself. I told you demons have to be in a human or an animal to have expression. When they're not in a body, they get weary. They go through dry places seeking rest. Why? Because they're tired. Why? Because it is the human souls that energize demons. Okay, y'all. It is human souls that energize demons. Demons look for bodies so they can not only get energized, but to accomplish the will of Satan that he has for them. This kind of gives me a little bit more ammunition because we're trying to discover where the demons come from. And everybody said, "Well, they're fallen angels." No, they're not fallen angels because angels have their own bodies. Demons can enter people, angels can't. You ever seen an angel enter a person in the scripture? They can't. So demons have to be another class of entities separate from angels, evil angels. And so I kind of lean with the theory that when the sons of God in Genesis chapter 6 went into the daughters of men and they bear giants, and God sent a flood and killed all the people except Noah and his family. Well, the spirits of the Nephilim, the hybrids, the half-breeds that were manifested from women having sex with fallen angels. You see, if an angel didn't have a body, he couldn't have sex with women.
Wow.
And so when the flood came, the spirits of the Nephilim had to go somewhere. They're not human spirits, they're hybrids. So I believe that produced the demons that we see operating today.
Wow.
And so this man was occupied with 3,000 to 6,000 demons in the earth because he had been in a graveyard eating pork, not saying you can't eat pork, and trying to conjure up dead people. And in the process of doing that, some stuff did come up. But it was not the ancestors he was trying to connect with. It was the demons that he opened himself up to. And he ended up being possessed and out of his mind and in the graveyard cutting himself night and day. And no man can bind him. And he was naked. And the thing about it, when Jesus got off the boat and came onto dry ground, this man ran up to Jesus and fell at his feet. The demons recognized authority.
Yes.
And they fell at Jesus' feet. And then they began to tell Jesus, don't send us out of this region while we are assigned to this territory. And if you send us out, Satan is going to be mad because we have not accomplished his objective. And so they was like, but let us go into pigs. And he gave them permission, and pigs got enough sense to realize that they don't want demons in them. But people have not come to that revelation yet. So the demons say before we let demons occupy us, we'll commit suicide.
Yes.
That was ham and bacon suicide. 200 pigs running down the hill and committed suicide because they didn't like how they were feeling. So the pig can't say, I feel some kind of way. But he knew he was feeling some kind of way. And the thing that gets me about this story is that when the demons came out and they saw the man in his right mind with some clothes on, that the people that was watching the pig went and told the leaders in the city. And they said, well, we got to get Jesus out. He's bad for business. Not let's celebrate that the man has been delivered and he's in his right mind. No, we got to get him out because he's messing up business. See, some business is demonic. And when the power of God shows up, it begins to shut them down. See, if everybody walked in their authority, we wouldn't even need undertakers for a long time. Because when people get sick with cancer, we'll lay hands on them, they'll get healed. Where the funeral home consultant and say, well, what kind of coffin you want? And what color you want? We don't want nothing. God just healed them. And see, the power of God is bad for business.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine Jesus walking by funeral processions and touching the coffin and the young boy get up and the undertaker say, man, there goes my commission.
Yep.
See, everybody don't like it when the power of God shows up. Why? Because it's just the strip joints down. It closes the ABC stores. It closes Satan's shop and he don't like it. And then some people in the church don't like it because they like their demons. They're comfortable with their devil, so they don't like the power of God.
Amen. That's right.
So they'll go to a ministry where there's no power, but there's some good singing.
Amen, Apostle. That's right.
Or a good hooper.
Come on.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to tell you now. God said that you're about to get your stuff. He's been telling them for 10 years. And you haven't got your stuff because they don't understand that stuff is in the glory. And if you never produce the glory, you don't get your stuff.
Amen.
And so we're dealing with these demons that are in the earth realm. Say the earth realm. So we see here this was Legion. Go over to Matthew chapter 12. I'm going to show you something. Now, let me slow down and really teach this. Because it's always next week, right? If you see people that are bound and out of their mind and doing stuff that you know is not their character and their nature, it may be this demon has attached himself to them. I remember 2012, I was working downtown and I was outside and it was during the time of, I don't know, maybe in the CIAA, there was something going on. And this man seemed like he was really a nice guy, talking and coming down there. He just came, and you ever had a day you really didn't feel like being bothered? I know y'all nice, saved people. No, I really didn't feel like being bothered that day. I wanted to be home. And this guy came, and he was talking. I was cordial, and he was like, pray for me. I'm like, dude, I'm in a security uniform. How he know I can pray for him? And so he grabbed my hand, and when he grabbed my hand, he started manifesting. And so I'm standing down there with all these hundreds of people walking by, taking this man through deliverance, because it sounded like he about to choke to death. And by that time, another guy walked up that was a street person. And this guy was not a street person who I was dealing with, but a street guy walked up that had urinated on himself, dirty, and he had a Bible in his hand. And he came over there doing something, yeah, Jesus something. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he left. And I say now, both of them got demons.
Yeah.
This dude here I'm dealing with, he don't have that dude got some legions up in here. He's lost his mind, but he has a Bible. What did he run from or neglect in his life that got him to that point? See, when you see people out of their mind and they're doing stuff that you know is not in their character, you might want to just talk to them and see if it's a demon that has attached itself to them. Because that's not normal to just lose your mind and be like that.
Yes.
And so this man had lost his mind because of the demons, but thank God Jesus came back, cast the demons out, and the Bible says that he was clothed and in his right mind. Because once the kingdom of darkness has a collision with the power of God, guess who's going to lose?